Okay, here's the parts for the Mercedes 250 CE. Should have pretty much a full toolkit from what I remember of being around, which I'll be putting together, that goes with the car. That over there on the right hand side is a fan for the air conditioning. I would go into that with the buyer as to what I had in mind there. Here we have a couple of old starter motors, a box full of head bits and other bits and pieces, a brand new head gasket, a jack for the car, a brand new, I think it's double core radiator that will fit on the Mercedes. And just below that there's the dryer separator, or whatever they call them, for the air conditioner, brand new, never used yet. Also, that's an oil cooler which I was planning to fit into the mudguard like Porsche do. These There's a turn indicator there with all the wiring, which seems to work well, whereas mine won't stay down. Also, there's a thermostat housing there, probably with a thermostat. Obviously, this is one of the fans from them. I was thinking about refitting that, plus having a fan on the other side, because they really did have a problem with the heat. Here's some door straps that I scrounged over the time that I owned it, which was 30 years. There's a water pump there, and the bearing feels good. These two heads, the rocker cover in the middle there is the original one off the car, and the one on the right is the fuel injected head, which I had checked out and was going to have rebuilt, and they said, well, really, it's at its maximum machining. They said we can redo it. Their idea was to weld the whole top of the head and then remachine it. Personally, I think these days you've got to have a copy of the head gasket made in aluminium, say 1mm, 1.5mm, depends on the compression ratio you're looking for, and put that down on the block, and then put the head gasket on top of that. And I think you'll find that will solve the problems of the thing being, what do you call it, too much compression. I'm just going to have a quick look here, because I think, yeah, they did. They machined it down. I think my main problem with this was that the compression got so high and the fuel was so bad around here at that time that the 98 octane fuel that I could get, sometimes the car would run just magic on it, not a problem at all. Other times it would tinkle and rattle at times, because obviously it was not 98 octane. When I switched over to gas, which you might realise gas is 104 octane, also being a gas, it doesn't need to be atomised like with fuel injectors, and I found I could get exactly the same performance out of the car running on gas with no rattling or tinkling from preignition due to compression. Runs really, really well on gas. So that's it. There's just some old starter motors there that I think I already mentioned those. There in the bucket is like all the head bits and so on off this head, which is there on the left. This is just something that I scrounged off a car that was heading off to the wreckers, and I thought, I know about these heads. Fortunately, the head fitted to the car is actually a head that had never even been machined once when I got it, so I had it restored at HeadX, and perfect, everything good from that point on, really. Problem solved. But if you wanted to go the purest way and rebuild the fuel injection system, I have the working computer. All was working when I took it off. Because the thing that I really didn't like about this engine, or not the engine, but the sound from it, it turned out that when they put the gas system on it, it was beautifully quiet. My friend jokingly said, "This isn't your engine." And all the rattling, which I thought was coming from tappet sounds and thought was just one of those things you had to put up with, turns out that it was coming from the injectors. And in hindsight, perhaps it was due to the fact that maybe they needed to be replaced. But as gas worldwide is about half the price of petrol, and certainly half the price of high octane petrol, it's possible that this is the way to go. It's got an 80 litre tank in the rear, and so plenty of range, and it really still allows you to have a huge amount of boot space, if you need that boot space. But you know, the boot that's left is as big as any other motor car that doesn't have an 80 litre tank put in it. If you take the 80 litre tank out, it's like a station wagon in the boot area, or a pickup or something along those lines. Anyhow, that pretty much covers the bits. There are other bits around that I'll be putting together to go with this. I also didn't mention there's a couple of interior lights there that I got from somewhere. The interior light that's fitted to it at the moment is off from an even earlier one, which is a really fancy deal. So I thought I got a hold of one and I thought I'll put that on there. So there it is. That's the spare part situation. I can't really think of anything else other than, you know, some nuts and bolts and bits and pieces that I've collected for the Mercedes over the years, but I'll certainly be looking around to see if there's anything else. Okay, by the way, the clock is working in the dashboard. Miracle of miracles.